Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So, today, as you can tell by the title, we are talking about social media, the good, the bad, the ugly, basically everything. So, my relationship with social media has changed over the last 6-ish months. I am now on social media 24/7, all the time. Well, not, I guess not all the time, but I am on social media professionally now in a capacity of which, like, this is what I do basically for a living, or part of it anyway. So I have some thoughts. I have gotten a chance to interact with social media influencers, people with some pretty big followings, have like messaged me, and I've like struck up conversations, friendships, that kind of thing with these people, which is very interesting. And yeah, I don't know. We're gonna talk about the bad stuff first. So I am of that generation of people where Facebook and social media in general started taking off when I was in about like grade 9, grade 10. So almost high school. And so I was right there when online bullying and cyberbullying started being a thing. That was kind of my first interaction with it. Is like, I wasn't an early adopter of social media. There were people in my class who were obsessed with it and using it and talking to people all over the world and that kind of stuff. But in like my little farming community and like farm town and everything, not a lot of us used social media at that point. There were a few people that were kind of like, I don't know, they were identified as like very early adopters of it, like having, like, I wasn't allowed a Facebook account until I was like 18 years old. Like, it just wasn't something that was like tolerated, and like we all thought it was kind of really weird to be on social media. We had phones, and so we would text each other and we would have each other's phone numbers and stuff, but there was no like online presence. You couldn't post any pictures, like none of that kind of stuff. And so it evolved very slowly, and especially like while I started going to college and stuff, that's when like social media was really like, everybody was using it, everybody was on it. My brother, who is 4 years younger than me, embraced social media at a very early, like Snapchat and that kind of stuff, but I wasn't on it for a long time. Yeah, so my first experience was cyberbullying. It wasn't good. It wasn't a positive thing. I didn't see the point in putting my information online. I thought it was kind of weird and creepy, and I wasn't interested in doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, I didn't do it for a really long time. Going forward, social media was still like fairly negative, especially in my brain. Like, the way I thought of it, I didn't think of it as very like constructive or healthy or good. And I remember all of us talking about Twitter and thinking Twitter was just the stupidest thing we'd ever heard of. Like, what are you supposed to talk about? Like, oh, I just ate a sandwich. Like, who cares? Like, why is that an important thing? Because that was when Twitter, and everybody on Twitter was just saying what they were doing all the time. They're like, oh, I'm currently doing this, going to the gym, whatever. And so my whole generation thought it was just the dumbest thing on the planet. It wasn't until really like YouTube and those kinds of things that really like hooked us and got us interested in like, videos and YouTubers. And YouTubers were definitely like the first internet celebrities. There were like many YouTubers that I followed that were like really big on social media, and you wanted to see where these people were going and what they were doing, and you wanted to like feel a part of their life, and you kind of did feel like you were a part of their life. And so that was kind of the evolution of it. But still, like, I don't know, I think social media even today is pretty toxic. It's pretty negative, especially for like kids and young people. The body images, the online bullying, seeing inappropriate content, like there's a lot of that stuff going on. So I don't know if social media is incredibly positive for younger people. I don't think it's particularly positive for any group. Like, I think even if you're in your 20s or your 30s, or like you're older, I don't think social media is super like conducive to a happy life. I think it causes a lot of like feelings of missing out, feeling like you're not good enough, making insecure. Yeah, I think it's ruined dating, and the idea of like forming a long-term relationship has now become very difficult. And it's become like problematic in many ways. So that's like largely my issues with social media and how I grew up with it. I think, okay, so I guess we're talking about the good stuff now. I guess one of the good things is like it allows people to create a living and earn a living doing what they're doing. Like, for example, like I basically like make a vast majority of the money that I make is online through social media, through different streams of revenue like Patreon and that kind of stuff. It allows me to communicate and connect with people, which I absolutely love. It allows me to find information that I wouldn't have been able to find. A lot of the content I try to make is about positivity, philosophy, thinking outside the box, thinking in general. So those kinds of things are pretty beneficial, I think. But yeah, there's it's a mixed bag, honestly. The stuff that is very interesting is when you get into like the idea of like social media influencing, and some of the influencers that I have had interactions with, most of them have been really, really nice. Some of them have been, very friendly, very kind. A few of them have been interesting reactions and interesting interactions with them. I will say, like, some of the people that you would know on social media are incredibly genuine, incredibly nice, genuinely good people, but there's definitely a lot of fake people as well. There's a lot of people that are they act totally different than their online persona. They are very, very two-faced, and I don't engage with that kind of stuff at all, and I hate that kind of stuff. There has been some like rumors and stuff. Like I've had people message me being like, hey, this person said this about you. Is that true? And some of it's like very inappropriate and like rude, bullying, gossipy stuff. So that's been really interesting to learn about over the last few months. I didn't think that I would be learning this stuff that quickly, but boy, is some of it ever interesting. And maybe at some point I will explain in more detail about what's been going on. But for now, I don't think I want to do that. Sorry, but yeah, some of it's weird. And like some of it is just like right out of a movie, right? Like you would think like, oh, that's too gossipy and dramatic, but like, nope, some of this stuff has actually happened, which is wild. But I think in general, social media is really what you put into it. And I think that's something that people don't want to hear. So what I mean by that is if you decide to curate your social media so that it is motivational and positive and constructive and it makes you feel good, then that's great. It's going to make you a better person. But if you curate it and you end up creating a thing that shows you content that is mean or negative or dangerous or, violent or whatever, it's going to cause anxiety and it's going to make you feel insecure. It's going to make you feel weird and like panicky, and it's not good. So I definitely recommend putting the effort into social media that you want to get out of it yourself, because sometimes it's a bit difficult. And I get that, but yeah, I think for all the negatives that social media has, it has also provided some incredible benefits to people. It's given people a voice. It's given a voice to people who need to protest and who need to try and change the system that they're currently living in. It gives so many people opportunity to make a living, to connect with people that they need to connect with. I mean, the gay community would not be what it is today without the ability to like meet each other. Like when I was a younger person, the idea of like trying to find other gay people was not a thing. Like you couldn't do it. You'd have to go to like the drama department of whatever high school you lived in or something and try and find people that way. But now we have like Tinder, we have all these things. Like all of my long-term relationships have been found online, and I wouldn't have found these people if I hadn't been. So I don't know, it's a double-edged sword. You have to look for the silver linings and decide what you're really looking for. I think that's the biggest point, is you really need to make a conscious decision about what you're doing on social media and if you have a good enough reason to be there, because a lot of it is just hyperbole and fear mongering and all of the kind of like craziness that goes along with it. So if you don't have a really good reason for being on social media, just get off. Like if I didn't have a good reason, like if I didn't do what I do, I would not be on social media whatsoever. I don't think it's not an incredibly positive atmosphere unless you make it that way. Unless like everybody I follow and everything that I consume as content either makes me laugh, makes me smile, makes me chuckle. I get to communicate with friends that I've known for a long time. And I don't engage in the harmful like aspects of social media, because you can choose not to engage in stuff that you don't want to. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that's basically all I wanted to say. I hope you're having an amazing day. Remember that you get to choose what your social media feed is. You get to choose the things that get to happen and the things you get to see. So yeah, let me know your comments on social media. What do you guys think? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think it's a mix? Do you think it's what you make it? Yeah, let me know. I'm curious, as always. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.